old self probably would have just fought you on spot or cursed you out or gave you a piece of my mind. But because of God and because of what he's done for me, I'm going to choose to act in patience. Patience also comes in our prayer life. In the world that we live in, we just expect for things to happen so quickly. Um I find myself, when you're going to get food, if you're going through a fast food drive-through and it takes more than 5 minutes, I'm like, come on, y'all holding me up. But I think about in, older days with food. Do you realize there was a point in life when people had to get up every morning, wee early morning hours, and hunt for their food? Y'all, I don't think I could go hunt my own food. I don't think I could do that. Simple things like rice that we just go into the store and buy pounds and pounds of every day, it takes 5 months to grow. Think about back in the day when everything wasn't so commercialized and you couldn't just walk into a store. If you planted the seeds, if you decided, okay, I want some rice today, and you had to grow it. For one, it only grows certain times of the year. There's seasons for every fruit and vegetable and everything that we eat. It doesn't grow year long, but it takes 5 months. 5 months. You got to wait on that rice. You couldn't just walk into Kroger or Walmart or HEB and go buy you a pack of rice. You had to wait and you had to cultivate it. Any type of gardening or farming, you don't just plant the seed and walk away and come back 5 months later. No, I'm not an expert, but those things have to be watered. They have to be nourished. You have to go and oh gosh, I don't know the word, but you move the dirt around and you shift it up, and you have to create the right environment for things to grow. My mom bought a house over 10 years ago now, but she loves to plant flowers. The man that owned the house was a mechanic. And in the backyard, every year, faithfully, she would plant her flowers and they would die. The next year, she came back and she did some research on how to make the soil a better atmosphere to grow her plants. And she bought all kinds of fertilizer and soil. And again, I'm not an expert. I don't know the name of all the stuff, but I'd see her back there on her hands and knees with the little diggy thing, and I'm really showing that I have no idea about this, but she'd be back there digging that dirt up, and she would plant those flowers, and you might see a little green leaf or maybe one flower, even though it was supposed to be a whole bush, and then the next day they were dead. Maybe not the next day, but a week later. And she did this year after year after year, and we kept realizing as we started to pay attention, the previous owner of her home was a mechanic. Well, there was oil poured in the backyard in the soil because he used to work on cars. And the oil had ruined the soil. The oil ruined the soil. So no matter how hard she tried to plant these flowers, it wasn't the right environment for them. And she could have continued planting those flowers in that soil for 30 years, and they still wouldn't have grown. Because the fact is, that was not a growing atmosphere for that flower. Sometimes we have to realize it's not that our prayers are wrong, and it's not that what we have or what we're seeking in our life is wrong, but it's the wrong timing or the wrong season. Seasons change. You walk through here in the summertime with the Eskimo coat on, I'm going to look at you crazy, or I'm going to think you're trying to steal out of the store. Because nobody in their right mind in Southeast Texas with 100-degree weather should be cold. And those of y'all that say you're cold, you're lying. I don't believe you. Just like me, I'm hot-natured. People in my life, they really didn't believe me for a long time until they are around me. In the winter, we've had our cold seasons, which really ain't that cold. 40, 30. Joanna don't wear a jacket. Joanna has her AC on her house, 60 degrees every single day, even in the winter. In my car, my AC is blasting. I've bought jackets and sweaters simply because I was tired of people judging me. Because when you go and people are like, you're not cold. Where's your jacket? Oh, you're going to get sick out here. No, I'm not. Something in me, the way I was created, I am hot all the time. Every given situation, I'm hot. So I cannot imagine being in the summertime wearing a jacket. But the point is, there is a time and a place for everything. Even with our prayers, sometimes it's not that we're praying for something that we don't deserve or that God doesn't want to give to us, but we're not in the right environment. Just like the flowers in that oil-filled soil. They couldn't grow because it wasn't nourishing for them. But if she would have just gotten up from that area that she wanted those flowers, because she wanted them perfectly lining her driveway in the front of her home. But if she maybe would have gotten up and moved 2 feet over, that soil was different. And when she moved 2 feet over and started to plant in a different area, she began to see the results. Patience with God's people and patience with our prayers. A lot of times we as Christians, we're told to share the gospel, and we get out here and we share with people and we get mad when they fall short. I can sit and hold a conversation with somebody and say, Jesus did this for me and God did this for me and he renewed me. He's transformed me. He's made me a whole new person. And they said, oh, yeah, that's amazing. I wish I could be like you. And I'm like, wait, but you can't. You can't, because God will do it for you too. And I'm excited and I'm sharing my testimony and I'm letting them know and I'm encouraging them and I'm trying. And the next day, they do the same thing. Or the next day, they ask me the same question. Have you ever experienced that? Even your girlfriends, your friends, your guy friends. You got some of those friends that do the same things over and over, make the same mistakes, cheating on their spouse, going back to the abusive relationship, going back to the person who doesn't value or cherish them. And that friend comes to you month after month. I'm so unhappy. I just don't know what to do. He's doing this to me. She's doing this to me. We're complaining and we're frustrated. And then as a friend, we're like, girl, you know what? I done told you to leave his butt. You ain't listening. I'm tired of giving you advice. Bro, look, I done told you that girl is crazy. If you ain't gonna leave her alone, that's on you. Those are the things we say. We say that to people. We say that to our children. If you don't listen to me, you know what? You're not getting it. I don't have to explain myself. How many of y'all have told that to people? I'm not required to explain myself. You're not. But it's nice if you do. I said that too as a parent. I remember times when my mom just said no. She didn't tell me why, who, what, when, where, how. She just said no and expected me to understand. Out of respect, yeah, you do. You just say, okay, well, mama said no. But sometimes it is nice when she comes back and says, well, baby, look, I told you no because I didn't want you to hurt yourself. Or because mama just really didn't have the money and I didn't want to hurt your feelings. There's always a rhyme or reason behind everything. But we have to be patient enough to seek it out. There's this old story, and it reminds me of God too, because we have to realize everything on this earth is God given. He is given to us. Every creature, every animal, every plant, every food source, every environment was created by God himself. So when I heard this story for the first time, it's the story about you have a chicken. A chicken lays one egg every day. And every once in a while, they don't even lay an egg that day. So you have a chicken or a hen that's producing one egg every day. And you can choose, by being the owner of that hen, you have a guaranteed food source every day. Every day you can wake up and that egg is available and you can cook and scramble and fry and eat that egg and let it provide the nourishment of your body. Or you can get impatient by 2, 3 o'clock that day, and you could say, oh, you know what? I'm tired of eating eggs. I'm tired of waiting 24 hours for this little hen to make me one egg. I want me some fried chicken. So you go kill your chicken and you pluck it and you cut it up and you batter it and you fry it and you have you a good old dinner. Good old dinner. You eat your fried chicken. But the next morning, all your chicken is gone because you ate it all. You was greedy, couldn't just eat one piece. You had to eat all 8 pieces of the chicken. So you ate all the chicken. Now the next morning, chicken is gone. But guess what? The chicken is in your belly. That hen can't lay you no more eggs. So now, not only do you not have the egg, you don't have the chicken. So now you're stuck like Chuck. You got to go find you another chicken. And what if that was the last chicken on the face of the earth? Then what? But that story reminds me of patience. Sometimes we have to wait. And I'm not trying to put emphasis on wait as if that's the only thing that God tells us to do. I'm not speaking of patience in the form of always having to wait and being oh so sorrowful. No. God calls his children to be bold and courageous and declare things. But I'm saying in your everyday life, act out of patience. The last point that really makes me think, what if God chose to not be so patient with us? What if he put a timeline on our salvation? The fact is, God was hung on the cross over 2,000 years ago. Now, one of y'all listening to this podcast is 2,000 years old. I know I'm not. I'm only 31. God died for me 1,970 something years ago, before I was even born. There have been so many generations since then. But Jesus didn't just die for the people that were standing at his feet at that moment in time. He died for every person of every generation to come. And he said while hanging on the cross, God, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So even in a moment of extreme pain, of heartache, heartbreak,